All right, away we go. It is the second Galactic Fried Chicken show of the day. This time, the real nightcap. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Have them deliver it right to your front door anywhere inside the 275 loop. Or go down to Dayton, Kentucky, Wednesday through Sunday. Lunch and dinner, tell them to pump it up and save yourself 15% off your order. I don't know. Just felt like I needed to change it up a little bit.
I blame that on the first one, which is day drinking, right? I mean, the first nightcap is day.
Yeah, we've been we started at 10 o'clock.
Right. So that one's day drinking, and this is the nightcap.
Yeah, I mean, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
So
we're gonna do this. There was a lot that happened in college sports today. So Aaron's gonna drive the car, and we'll do the 275 loop, if you will.
I sent you a couple articles today.
There was a lot today. There was a lot.
The first article that I sent you, I believe, was from Yahoo.
Yeah.
The random Yahoo article. It was actually Dan Wetzel.
Wetzel, that's right. It was Wetzel.
Where the title of the article is "The NCAA is so toothless, a smoking gun isn't even enough." At which point he went on to discuss the LSU Tigers and how they had self-imposed sanctions from 2000 when they were 3-5 during that COVID year.
2020. Yeah.
2020. Sorry. And they
2000 was a long time ago.
Yeah. 3-5. Well, I mean, Les Miles is being implicated in some of this stuff too. Everything's weird. When was the last time Les Miles was there? My goodness. But in any case, they talked about how Will Wade and his strong ass offer. They talked about how there was the situation where the football team, again, 3-5 that year with Ed Orgeron.
That was at the time that they imposed the bowl ban. They were 3-5. So they weren't going to a bowl, and if they were going to a bowl, it was a crappy bowl.
Correct.
That probably would have cost them money because their fans wouldn't have traveled because the team was bad.
COVID.
You would have lost money on that bowl game. So they saved themselves a chunk of change by banning themselves from a bowl game that year. Very noble.
Well, my favorite part about it was when the NCAA, as quoted in this article, said that the self-imposed penalty, as the report asserted, reflects an institution that conducted an honest assessment of the nature and severity of the violations to hold itself accountable. What?
Isn't there somebody? There has to be somebody at the NCAA that looks at this stuff and goes, "What do we do? No.
I think you got it all wrong. I think they're laughing in the meeting and just what are we going to put out this time? That sounds really good. That we agree. Well done.
Again, because the NCAA isn't actually an organization that has any teeth. It's just an organization that operates as the cover for the presidents and the universities that control the NCAA.
I don't think this is that far off, but I picture it like a scene from Mad Men where they're all sitting around with a highball on their desk in front of them at a very large mahogany table of some sort, and just the whole thing.
My glass is empty, but they said
we'll show the peasants. The whole thing's just ridiculous. It's all stupid. So table that. And we'll fast forward to the second article that I sent you. And that was it was Nicole Auerbach. As she did, I'm sure she wrote an article.
Jesus.
I'm sure she wrote an article. It's fine. It's been a long day. We were working before noon, and that never happens.
No, don't work before noon.
But she had a series of tweets. I'm sure there was an article. I didn't actually do my homework to see if there was an article, but I'm assuming that it said the same thing as the tweets. Yeah. But essentially, we're talking NLI, which is the National Letter of Intent, not to be confused with NIL, because why wouldn't we have acronyms this close together about things that were of this nature? In any case, the National Letter of Intent program is going to have some changes. Number one, the NLI penalty will no longer apply if the NLI signee requests a release because of a head coaching change. Number two, the NLI penalty won't apply.
The first one's a needed change.
The
I
NLI
don't like the
penalty
second one.
won't apply if the athlete leaves after one academic semester / quarter.
I don't like that one.
Because you just
like, this has to be more than a Luther Richardson transaction. Like, you can't just show up and in like 4 days be like, I'm done with this shit, and not have some kind of consequence to it. You went through the recruiting process. You picked a school. You enrolled in that school.
The coach stopped recruiting people at your position.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you can't just show up and in like 5 days be like, nah, man, or even, I guess maybe a semester, like after a semester, I don't know.
This is the part that gets me, though. One other change. 4-year transfers will also be able to sign an NLI deal an NLI after entering the portal. They don't have to do this, but signing an NLI would trigger a recruiting ban. So once you sign it, other schools are supposed to stop reaching out.
So
why would you sign one?
You don't have to hold your spot is why you sign one. Because if you sign one, then they're locked. That's Aaron, make no mistake. If I had a kid that was going to be a college athlete, they would never sign a national letter of intent.
My whole point.
But there is some value in locking in both sides. So the school can't continue to recruit over you, and the player can't. This is what we see in December. This is why this is being enacted on the transfer side. Because you see kids commit to a school on December 17th. But then they don't enroll at that school until January 10th. So they are still a free agent in that 3-week window. And what's happening? Other schools are going, how much you paying you?
What's up?
I'll pay you more. Sup? Like, I got you. How much they paying you? I got you. I got you. So this is a move in the direction to lock a kid in to the school, and the school locked into the kid in that December to January window that's been really awkward.
Now let's go back to the first article we discussed, and you're supposed to be banned from recruiting the kid once you sign this NLI. We all know that's not going to happen. What does it even matter at this point? And if you
you wouldn't be, the kid would not be able to. So essentially, the only thing that locks a kid in a transfer is enrolling in class and taking that first day of class.
Right.
If NLI is enacted for transfers, then as soon as they sign the NLI, they're off. The other schools cannot recruit them. They cannot, unless they get a release from the National Letter of Intent, they cannot flip.
It just seems...
I know the tinfoil skeptic in you.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
This is, I'm just telling you, this is why it's being done, because there was like a
we all know. I guess we all just know that
window where it was crazy.
We all know that no one's going to stop recruiting, though.
No, you have to.
Okay,
Aaron, you have to.
Unless you don't.
But why don't we see hundreds of kids that sign in December in high school flip in February? Because they signed a national letter of intent. They cannot be recruited anymore.
We'll see.
We have seen for decades. NLI has actually served its purpose, even though I don't agree with it. It has served its purpose.
I'm just hesitant to see the NCAA doing anything that works the way it's supposed to work on paper in black and white.
This is one of the few, even though it's dumb as shit and I'd never have my kids sign it, this is one thing that they've done that has actually kind of held up. Like, we've seen outrage in basketball where, schools don't there's a coaching change, they don't let a kid out of the national letter of intent. The only way he can go somewhere else is to sit out a year, even though he's never enrolled. Like, there are actual teeth to the NLI.
Well,
and I don't necessarily I'm just explaining why it's being done. It's being done for that 3-week gap when kids start committing, but they can't enroll. So there's no mechanism in place that it, do you take this player to be your lawfully wedded wide receiver?
Well played. That was nice.
Yeah.
In any case, these changes are supposed to take effect for prospective student athletes. I don't know why.
Echo. I get it. Yeah, that's all good.
Student athletes signing the 24-25 NLIs. The final article that I sent you came from ESPN. We're all over the place today. Athletic, yeah. ESPN, Yahoo.
And touching all the bases.
This is from Dan Murphy. And he wanted to talk about the new NCAA rules conflict with some state laws over NIL deals. Now, this is super interesting to me. So essentially, and I'll go over the rule changes, the rules that they're trying to avoid before you get into any of them. But essentially, Texas right now has a rule in place that is a law is set to go into effect Saturday that would allow fundraising groups such as the Longhorn Foundation or the 12th Man Foundation to raise money for NIL deals. Similar laws have been passed in Arkansas and Oklahoma, where I guess that Texas would allow schools to provide perks to fans who donate to these NIL funds. Yeah. And that seems messy. It gets messier, by the way. Other clarifications for the NCAA as they're trying to corral some of this. They want to make sure that boosters, including collectives, are not allowed to meet with recruits to discuss potential NIL opportunities in order to encourage them to attend a particular school. NIL deals can't include clauses that require an athlete to attend a particular school or live in a particular geographic area, and event sponsors cannot pay an NIL collective, which in turn pays athletes as part of a contract for a team to participate in an event. For example, some schools have signed contracts with midseason basketball tournaments that include a promise from the tournament organizer to donate thousands of dollars to the collective group associated with that school. But the law in Texas that is taking effect also includes a provision that says the NCAA and its conferences are prohibited from punishing any school that takes advantage of these new types of NIL activities. If the NCAA sanctions a school in Texas for providing perks to donors in exchange for NIL dollars, that school could pursue legal action against the NCAA.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is why the NCAA has been begging the government to step in and create a national NIL base, a floor, if you will.
I go back to if the NCAA hadn't dug its feet so hard into the sand, all of this could have been avoided.
Correct.
You could have been out ahead of 17 steps ahead of this, but instead you were worried about the money that EA Sports got on a video game.
It wasn't that. It was they have this internal fascination with being able to call the players student athletes, and the belief that the minute that they make a penny, the minute that we have to give them a penny outside of the student part, then the gig is up, that all of it comes tumbling down, all the big buildings and the stadiums and everything that they worked for.
I think there's
crumbling to the ground. No, it's 1,000% true. There's not some truth to it. This is what the universities and the presidents have been fighting against forever and ever and ever and ever. And they are begging the government to save their ass because they had their head stuck up it for the longest time as this was becoming reality. Again, Aaron,
you made all the money off the student athletes' backs, including injured student athletes who had no recourse on their injury. Aaron, they were done.
We have empirical evidence that there's nothing they can do to beat the government here. Supreme Court that is split purposely down the middle, or depending on who is on the Supreme Court.
Right.
It's always 5-4, 4-5, 5-5.
Yeah.
9
The
zip.
3-6.
9 zip.
9-0.
9
Never
zip.
happens.
Never happens. They could have like video proof of somebody stabbing another person in the neck, and the guy being like, "Hi, I'm Steve Jones," and stabbing them. They would be like, 5-4.
Going back to our first article, FBI had surveillance on Will Wade saying, I made a fucking hell of an offer. I made a strong offer.
But the FBI wouldn't give it to the NCAA because the NCAA.
But HBO had the entire tape. HBO showed the entire tape. They ran the tapes, and it didn't matter.
But the NCAA didn't have the tapes.
It was on HBO. You can watch it on demand.
But again, they're toothless. They're feckless. They don't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Which brings me back again to that first article. What does any of this matter?
Just cheat. Just cheat. Fuck it. Just cheat. Whatever the rules are, just double birds. I'm cheating.
And wait until you're having a shitty season. We'll sit this one out. We got this. We're good. We're good here.
And if they do something you don't like, get your state behind you and take them to court. Because you're always going to win. You're always going to win. They're never going to win. They have said that the NCAA is never going to win. Ever again. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Ever, 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 ever. That's the nightcap. BCJ pod tomorrow night. We'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Galactic Fried Chicken. Thanks to Wes Miller for this morning. It's BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.